Hi, my name is Cheryl Hill, and I'm coming to you from the entryway of my home in Van Nuys, California. And this video is regarding the death of my brother Tracy Hill. He committed suicide on March 21st in his apartment building in the Fontana apartments, where he's been a resident for the last 30 years. The reason I'm making this video is because I'm having a problem with the apartment management giving me a key. They're refusing to give me a key because they say I might become a squatter, which makes no sense at all. I mean, if I wanted to squat, once they let me in, I could just stay there and close the door behind me and I would be a squatter. But why would I spend any time squatting in that particular building when I live in a house like this? Just saying, not bragging, I'm just making a point. The Fontana Appointments is owned by a man by the name of Michael Piro. Michael is part of the Montgomery Partners in San Francisco, California. I will put all the contact information at the end of this video. But to update you on the story, and I want to correct a mistake that I made yesterday that I said out of emotions and mistaken words. I am not collecting money for back rent. Tracy does not owe $13,000 in back rent. I was trying to collect a year's worth of rent to say to these people, what's it going to take for you to give me a key? 1 month's rent, $1,300, 2 months rent, $2,600, and on and on and on. How much is it going to take? So in my emotions, I didn't convey that, because while I would like to raise money for my brother's bills and things like that, back rent is really not the issue. What I want to do is shame this company into giving me a key. Here's why I need a key. First of all, we're in the middle of a pandemic. And I'm in a high-risk group. Me going out any other time except for the time that I think is best for me, which will mitigate how much exposure I have to the virus, is very important. But according to them, I can't have a key because I might be a squatter, which again makes no sense. So to update you and give you some background on the last video I made, my brother Stuart, who's been in property management for over 30 years, for over 20 years, he's worked for developers, he's worked for people that build assisted living complexes. Whenever a family member passes away in a unit, there's usually a bereavement period that they give these family members to resolve their loved one's property issues. Because when you're grieving, you kind of go from day to day. You don't even know what you're doing from 1 minute to the next. So it takes time to make decisions. In the middle of the pandemic, you're even more limited with the resources that you have available. Anyway, my brother Stuart spoke with their legal, she's not a lawyer, I'm not sure exactly what she is, maybe a paralegal or a legal assistant. But anyway, her name is Sally in Colorado. Not only did she say that there was no bereavement period, but she said if we didn't pay the rent, that she was going to seize my brother's property and put it up for sale. So of course, I was stunned. So I started calling as many people I know. I called my friend Randall Kleiser, big director. I called other people. I ended up working with John Duran. John Duran's a former mayor of West Hollywood. He was the mayor of West Hollywood for many, many years, and he's got a law firm now, John Duran Law. And I'm not plugging him, but, there are kind people out there that will help you when you just call them up in the middle of the night and hysterically and say, I need help. They help. There's not everybody as greedy as this corporation is, Montgomery Partners. Anyway, John contacted this Sally person in Colorado, and not only is she not going to give us a key and not going to give us a bereavement period and threatening to seize my brother's property, now she's telling John that we're no longer paying rent, we're paying for a storage unit. We're paying for storage. Well, I don't remember signing anything like that. I've seen the legal paperwork for my brother's apartment. The original lease was signed in 1989, I believe. The only updates to that agreement has been rent increases. I haven't seen any more current paperwork. I sure as heck didn't sign anything that says we're paying for a storage unit. But even if we were paying for a storage unit, we'd get a key. We'd have access. We'd be able to come and go at our leisure. You know, and the reason in the middle of a pandemic, when you're in a high-risk group, you want access when you want it. There's some days where I just wake up and I just can't go. If I've made an appointment to go in, I can't cancel it. I can't call a vendor directly. I have to go whether I want to or not because I've made this arrangement with their management company. The other thing is, according to the legal assistant or legal paralegal or whoever she is, I can really only have access during business hours. Now, Petra, the property manager, has been a little more gracious with offering me access during off hours, but she's slow to respond. I can only reach her through email, and they're not practicing social distancing. The last time I was there, she emerged from the building without wearing a mask, without wearing gloves. She walked into the manager's office, then put on a mask, and then put on gloves. But what good is that going to do? So my point is that they are exposing me, my health and my situation. They are exploiting my brother's death. They really don't care about people. They care about property. And I guess that's what they mean in property management. But my brother was a customer of theirs for 30 years. You would hope that they would be a little bit more compassionate, but they're not. So what I wanted to do was shame them into giving me a key. So while I would like to raise money for Tracy's rent for the next 2 or 3 months until we're out of this pandemic, I would like to do that, but it doesn't necessarily going to take $13,000. But what I would like to do is use this money and this GoFundMe to shame Montgomery Partners and La Fontana Apartments into giving me a key. It's so easy. I called the Michael Piro, who's the owner and the managing partner, directly. No response. My brother Stuart called the paralegal in Colorado. She said she was going to seize my brother's property if we didn't pay rent. Then my friend John Duran called her. She's now no longer calling it rent. She's calling it storage. These are the most heartless, cruel people that I can think of. These rules are arbitrary. And the only reason I can think that they're handling it this way is because this complex, which is very large, is occupied by mostly brown and black skinned people. So I don't know if they manage all their properties this way, but if they manage this property this way for any other reason than they're just jerks, then that's even more problematic. So while I want you to donate to Tracy's apartment fund, if we only get, and thanks to you, by the way, in one day we raised almost enough money for 1 month's worth of rent. This month's rent is already paid. I paid that. We can pay next month's rent. We can pay the month's rent after that, however long it's going to take until this pandemic is over. So his gear is stored in a place that's safe. And then after that, we'll make some decisions. But I wanted to correct the error because it's not for back rent. I will share the information on Michael Piro. I will give you his phone number. I will give you Petra's phone number and her email. But what I really want you to do is share this information. Corporations like this need to be shamed. And so add the hashtag give Cheryl a key, and it's hashtag SHGIVESHERYLAKEY. All right? Thank you. I appreciate your guys' help. You're amazing. You've been a blessing to myself and my mother. She's so grateful for all the calls that she's gotten. I really appreciate your help. Thank you.